Hi guys,
Hi everybody!
I'm Hayden Crawford
And I'm Shani-Faye Chambers.
and this is Wellness Uncut. So Wellness Uncut, Shani, what is this show all about?
This is your opportunity as the audience to ask us questions about any area of life where it's just not going well. Because when it comes to what is wellness, it is a case of having well-being in all aspects of your being. In your home life, your relationships, your career, your purpose, your health. And basically, you can ask us anything because we've got some pretty cool tricks up our sleeves, don't we, Hayden?
We certainly do, and we're not shy at all, are we?
Not anymore.
Excellent. Okay, so Shani, tell us more about you and why would someone want to come to you and ask you for advice?
Because I've got a lot of experience, basically. My journey started basically when I was very, very young. I was born into this life very unwell, mentally unwell, very dark, very negative, very not quite right. And I started seeing psychologists when I was 8 years old in year 3. And I started seeing these psychologists because I had finally confided in my mother that I didn't want to be here anymore and that I wanted to die. So I was suicidal from a very, very, very young age with very strong feelings of just not wanting to be here. So I went through lots of psychology and counselling over the next few years, and unfortunately, personally for me, that didn't work. And by the time I was 13, I was actually getting through each day with the belief that today doesn't matter because I won't be here tomorrow. I was that far gone into just the suicidal pattern. And when I was 14, my mum took me to a kinesiologist who took me through 2 sessions that completely changed my life. I went in there completely dark, black, emo kid. I had black hair, I had undercut, I had earrings.
I can't imagine that.
I had gothic makeup, no colour at all. And I literally, from 2 sessions, it's like I almost had like a complete personality transformation, became this blonde hair, bubbly, vibrant person that you see today. And that's when I realized that healing is so easy when you have the right tools. So that sent me for, even in my teenage years, I started studying and doing workshops and personal development and courses, and studied so many different modalities. And then about 7 years ago nearly, I started my own private practice, the Wellness Chambers. And I have been seeing thousands of clients in those last few years, both in person and also online. So a lot of the work I do, I have clients. Even my last client last night was in Manchester, in UK. So that was pretty exciting. That thanks to technology, we can
Go global.
Go global. That's right.
And glow global.
And glow global.
You glow global.
Love it. So I've got a lot of experience. I've been there. I've experienced the trauma. I've experienced the healing, and I've experienced facilitating a lot of it. So, yeah. What about you, Hayden? Your journey was a bit similar of having to heal yourself first, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was really. I mean, there was a couple of things that went on for me. First of all, like my lower back was extremely painful, and it was because I felt like I had no support. My mum and dad's relationship separated when actually I was 26, but I felt like I had no place in the world because my mum emigrated to Australia. And also I was working in a corporate world where I just was kind of living my father's patterns, thinking that I had to work hard for a living, doing something that I didn't want to do. So it all came to a crunch, about 5 years ago, just before I set up Dreemtime Academy. And I was on the way to work one day and I just found myself in tears in a shop doorway. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was with Mark and Mark was like, oh my God, pull yourself together, get yourself in the office. I was like, we've got to move. So we ended up going down south for 4 years for me to be able to re-find myself. And, I guess that's when I started really taking wellness seriously. And it's only when you go through your own trials and tribulations that you start thinking, I've really got to get my stuff in a pile. Otherwise, it's just not going to work out as a happy ending for me. So, Dreemtime Academy was born. I'm now a wellness coach specialising in colour therapy. I work with the beautiful colour mirrors and I do workshops all across Perth, teaching the colour mirror system, but also workshops to help women go from feeling frazzled to fulfilled over a course of a 12-week period. So I'm running online wellness workshops as well as face-to-face courses, and
I love your workshops.
do ya?
I do. They're just so beautiful.
Oh.
Such a good energy coming from them.
Oh, thank you. Well, I love yours as well. I mean, yours look fantastic. You're doing amazing things over in Bali, and what with HypnoBiz as well, which is an international hypnotherapy conference. What you're going to be an international speaker for this next year, isn't it now?
Yeah, so I'm presenting and training people in Amsterdam as a part of the international conference HypnoBiz in September 2020, along with my business partner Emma Romano. So that's very exciting. We're also doing it on the Gold Coast this year, and Emma's also going to do the American hypno business.
Wow.
As well, so
I love Emma Romano. She is,
my soul sister.
whenever we've got a dilemma, what do?
We dial Emma.
We dial Emma. We're going to be dialing Emma during the course of today's show, aren't we, Shani?
Yeah, we are.
When something arises.
Yeah, she's definitely got a speciality with something.
What
Lots
is her
of things.
speciality?
She's actually got quite a few. Emma Romano first got really well recognised in the healing business because she healed herself of MS.
Wow.
She was partially paralysed, and the doctors told her to go home and get ready for a wheelchair in the house. And she, in true Emma style, said, "Fuck that," true Emma style, and went and healed herself. She just decided, I am going to find out everything I need to know to get myself well. And she went through, all the nutrition. The big ones for her was, clearing the emotional trauma that causes physical dysfunction. And she is fighting fit, vibrant. We together run workshops in Bali and in Perth and in Melbourne, and we're going a lot more places next year. And she's just full of beans, the epitome of health and well-being. And so she specialises in quite a few different areas, especially parenting, and she runs her own online workshop, online practitioner training, Family Freedom Protocol. And her family is like my second family. It's just, they're family goals. If you need advice on family parenting, she's your go-to.
So we're going to be getting some really useful tips and tricks from Emma Romano in today's show, actually. So I'm sure you'll be really looking forward to that. Now, the other thing that I find really interesting about you is the fact that, not only are you a fantastic international speaker, not only have you got the wellness chambers, but you've also, just launched your new
dress label. So this is Dressed by Shani-Faye. So this one, it brings me a lot of joy. It's brand new. The stock only arrived a couple of days ago. I'm getting beautiful designs made up overseas because I do a lot of overseas travel now, so I thought I'd go around and find all the most prettiest fabrics and the nicest designs. And it was really important for me to do this for a few reasons, and one of them was to challenge myself, because this is so far out of what my usual scope is, and I wanted to be able to put into practice all the the way that I work and the belief systems that I have and my manifestation and all that kind of stuff. It works very easy when you know what you're doing. So I wanted to put all that knowledge into practice with something that I didn't know about and something that scares the crap out of me. So here we are.
Well, you're living proof that, when you have goals and aspirations and you release resistance, you can really start becoming a manifestation magician, which actually leads us to our very first question from Brenda.
Hi, Brenda.
Hello, Brenda.
Thank you for being our first.
Yeah, you're our first one.
Yay.
Fantastic. Well, Brenda's question, okay, Shani. Now, I want you to start off with this one, please, because she wants to know, when is she going to be able to leave her day job? And when will her online business start to take off? Now, usually what we do is we get people to pick out 3 bottles, up to 3 bottles from the colour mirrors, which kind of reveal their subconscious blockages or challenges or the best steps for them to take to be able to move forward with the particular challenges. But Brenda actually hasn't come back to us yet. So, Shani, tell us, what advice would you give to Brenda?
Well, for starters, saying when can I leave this to start this, you are flipping between, you only have 2 options. So you're going to find all the blockages of why you can't do this yet, so you're not really giving yourself leeway for creation. Maybe see if you can actually start to do a couple of days a week instead of full time, or have a look for a job that allows you part time so that you can spend more time here. because the universe won't give you what you don't have space for. So that's always my first piece of advice, because I actually train practitioners and I help other practitioners move out of full-time work into this line of work. And that's the first one, is actually just make it a bit easier for yourself, because you want that security while you build this one. Because while you're building this one, a whole heap of different things will come up for you. When you start your own business, how many aspects do you think are actually really involved with creating the success of that? It's not just about success or time or fear of failure. There's also all these belief systems around money. It comes down to self-worth, and because you're putting yourself out there. There's heaps. What are some other things that have come up for you that you've noticed?
Well, it's really interesting you should say that, Shani, because you mentioned self-worth there, and self-love are actually two of the major issues that I find that block people from manifesting, whether it's wealth, prosperity, or even love in their life. And they usually pick out the pink bottles in the colour mirror system. So pink is the colour of both love and money. It's on exactly the same vibration.
It's like we love money almost.
Well, that's right. But we've got to love ourselves, you see. And when we love ourselves enough, unconditionally, that's when we attract the flow of abundance into us. So a lot of the time when people bathe in the pink colour mirrors bottles, they release that pattern from the cellular memory, and they start becoming this manifestation magician. It's incredible. You can also keep your money in a pink wallet, because that again changes the energy system around, you know, where your finances are stored, and it starts attracting more in as well. So, you know, there is a whole heap of different ways to be able to, you know, kind of move beyond what you're currently doing and enable that to happen. But I love your really practical advice there about, you know, really bringing, you know, not giving something up until something else is kind of underway, because you almost have to feel abundant and prosperous before that actually takes place. You can't think it in, you've got to feel it in, don't you?
Yeah, it's feelization rather than visualization. You've actually got to feel it, because that's the emotional charge that brings us what's in our lives. But I really love how you said that it's love and money are actually on that same thing, because we have such a bad relationship with money, and that's why money is scarce in our life. Money is, and abundance is a natural birthright. The only thing that's stopping you from having that abundance is your relationship with money. It's not money. So when we can come into a loving space and see money as just an energy, that we can actually, and bring love into that, it actually does really flow, because money is what allows us to really go in and live our purpose and contribute back and have joy. So yeah, I actually do whole sections on healing your relationship with money in quite a few of my different workshops and retreats, because it's huge, and it actually stems back for so many people back to childhood wounding with money. Because, like, say for example, dad's never around because he has to go to work to make money. What do you think that says to a child?
Well,
money's more important.
That was the pattern that I was following. You know, it was like I observed my father as I was growing up. He worked hard doing something he didn't want to do to create money, and of course that's what I did, and I did it stupidly for like 15 years, working in a job that I felt like I was living someone else's life. So, but once I realised that, and it comes with self-awareness as well. Yeah. I could do something about it, and I just asked, you know, my angels and guides, like, what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail, and listened to the advice I was getting. And, you know, I was told to work with colour. Yeah. You know, and then I had to take action on it, and, you know, I didn't even really know what it meant at first. I thought it meant that I had to be a painter, and that's actually what I started off doing, and nobody was buying my paintings. But, you know, then it led me to the colour mirrors, and now, you know, I'm totally in alignment with my soul work. So, you know, you don't expect the first thing that comes along as well to be exactly the thing that's going to drive you forward to an abundant and prosperous life. You know, it's like you've got to be in action in joy. If you're not sitting in action in joy, then it's not going to last, and also you're giving off the wrong energy, and you'll attract more of what you're not enjoying. So really, you know, I feel like as long as you're in love with your life, and everything else flows beautifully.
Yeah, making it more about the journey rather than the destination, because if we don't enjoy the journey, we're not going to enjoy the destination either.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Do you want to go on to the next question then, Shani? 'Cause we've got
Yes,
some more.
shall
We've got some
we?
more questions.
So our next question is from Heather. Hi, Heather.
Hey, Heather.
So she's written, I'm struggling with friendships. I struggle to forge deep connections where I feel safe enough to allow myself to fully open up and trust myself with others. Even friendships have been formed spiritually. She still finds it's hard to trust, and she's not sure why.
Now, can I start this one off? Because
Please.
Heather actually has chosen some colour mirrors, and these are the bottles that you can see below us there on just at the bottom of the screen. So she's chosen 3 bottles. And these are really going to unveil her unconscious, her subconscious blockages to why she can't attract in these valuable relationships. And actually, what I do initially is just look at the colour combinations that she's kind of attracted, and you can see that a lot of them are sort of like these turquoise and yellows that are coming through. And of course, when you combine those 2 colours together, it's a fear of betrayal that comes up. Okay, so it's actually not just this. So what I would say is Heather, there is some sort of fear that you're going to be betrayed in some way, but you've got to go into the shadow of that, and you've got to go, well, what aspect of you feels like it might betray? And you have to shine a light into that, shine some love into that. Now, I'll show you the bottles that you've got. So first of all, you picked out G20. This one is called the Abode of Bliss, and it's kind of like, this one is a very pale blue over a pale green. And this one is about sibling rivalry as well, this bottle, believe it or not, and persecution. Yeah. So it might have been that, her brothers and sisters, she might have had that going on in her childhood. And of course, that's led her to distrust other people, you see.
Well, they're meant to be our first friendships, So when we're between the ages of 0 and 7, that's when the majority of our core beliefs and foundations are created. And that's when, we're brothers and sisters.
I love that.
That's it.
That's perfect, because it sets the precedent really for future relationships. So, this one is really intense, and it's the end of sibling rivalry really. But this puts you in a space of peace, so that you can have that abode of bliss. But there is a sense of persecution that comes through as well with that one, Heather. Now, the other one you picked was bottle 21. And bottle 21 is called the Key, and it's gold. I think you've bathed in
I have.
this one,
yeah, that one was beautiful.
Well, can you remember what this one's for? Do you remember what it's for?
I've bathed in so many of them now. That one was going back in and unlocking your inner magic and wisdom, wasn't it?
In a way, yeah. So yellow in colour therapy is about fear, okay, and also, joy. And gold is an ego, and gold is authentic power and wisdom. So when this bottle comes in, it's almost like, moving. It's called the Key because it's when you come of age, but there's a lot of fear associated with this as well. So this is the fear that's coming up. So it's fear of being your authentic self, Heather, that's preventing you from forming and developing these friendships. So just look into that, because if you truly want that joy that's sitting in the subconscious, you do have to start being as authentic as possible. So bring in a bit of pink love into your power, all right, your yellow power. And the other one is G28. So this one is called New Dawn, and this one basically, these are all the star children pick these bottles, Shani. So all these crystal children that come to the planet with a really high vibration, and then all of a sudden they get knocked down by situations, people, all of that, and then so they go into their shells. So she's a crystal child that's come in, very sensitive, very intuitive, and when she sees the other behaviours from the external other, she kind of blocks down and shuts down. So there's a real fear of betrayal and persecution that could stem from that relationship. So I would be suggesting that you go and see Shani to do some inner child work with that. I reckon you'd be able to take her on a really cool process.
Yeah, I would love to help her out. Personally, I can resonate a little bit with this one because I have always had a lot of luck with my friendships, easily forming connections and friendships, but when it comes to relationships, I feel a bit of this one. So if you'd change that to from friendships to relationships, I would have been like, I wrote this. So I really do feel it and understand where you're coming from, because it's quite often, it's just all that deep-seated betrayal and trauma, and it's probably not from this lifetime either, honey. It's probably a very long pattern, and we have to actually dig in a lot deeper into what scars your soul is holding, because when you've had many lifetimes here on this planet, as the star children have, then we've had a lot of betrayal, we've had a lot of trauma. You know, our soul remembers all of that, even though consciously we don't. And our souls, you know, the unconscious mind is designed to keep us safe. So we won't want to go out and open up because we have the soul memory of all the times that didn't serve. So we've actually got to get in underneath and clear all that trauma and actually reprogram the unconscious mind to know that you are safe now and that you can create a different future and a different story, and find your tribe. Because when you find your tribe, it's so heart-opening, and you can feel that love and support. And we really want that for you, Heather.
We really do, Heather. You know, you deserve this. And, you know, it goes back to this persecution as well. And when we talk about, you know, past lives and that you might have come in with all of this stuff, well, the European persecutions, you know, there are specific colour combinations that indicate, you know, the European persecution. So, you know, either being burnt at the stake, you know, if you're condemned as being a witch, you know, all of that sits within the cellular memory, doesn't it, Shani?
Yeah,
and it's
I've had to clear a lot of that one.
Have you?
Yeah. Oh, my biggest fear was public speaking. There's no way I would have been able to do this because of all the persecution that my soul remembered, and of all the things, because I've had a lot of trauma that I've cleared and overcome, like actually very easily in comparison to the public speaking, because my soul had a memory of all that betrayal, all that persecution. And so it just could not, massive fear, massive blockages. But I knew that I had to do it so that I could I could be here today doing public speaking.
Oh, hallelujah, that you were persecuted in your previous life.
So if we don't clear those past life traumas, we actually really can't move forward. Like, it's deep soul work. Like, I'm actually seeing my specialist lady this afternoon who does all that past life clearing for me. I don't do that much kind of work on myself. And there's no way I'd be where I am today if I hadn't have cleared all that past life trauma. And it's a big one for people.
Ancestral clearing, it's huge.
Ancestral as well, yeah.
Oh, you know, it's incredible. I mean, we could talk for hours about this, but I want to sort of, hopefully you've got something from that, Heather, and you know, and please, you know, if you feel drawn to Shani, please make an appointment and go and get some of this work done.
Or
and
Hayden.
Maybe even bathe.
I see Hayden for my stuff. He's great.
Well, bathe, you know, do some bathing, colour mirrors
Yeah.
bathing as well. Actually, Heather came to one of my events recently, so she's really tuned into this stuff. So I think she'll take it on board. Now, I want to move on to Charlotte now. Now, this is one.
Charlotte.
Charlotte's saying, "How can I help my kids get through family trauma and depression?" Now, I haven't.
Well, that's a very good question.
I haven't got kids.
I don't have kids either. I've got a cat and a snake, and that cat is hard work.
Our cat's hard work as well, little Lala. So we've got a bit of a dilemma, haven't we?
Definitely a dilemma.
It's a dilemma.
Let's
dilemma.
She is the expert in working with families, working with kids. She's got 2 beautiful teenage boys, and she's literally family goals. And working with her in our workshops and retreats, there's always questions coming up from the mothers about, you know, how do they deal with their children? And I am in absolute awe of the wisdom, the profound wisdom that comes out of her mouth. And it's through her own experiences. And she is the absolute epitome and the embodiment of proper parenting. She's just, it makes me emotional. She's that beautiful at parenting. It's just...
And she's a jolly nice person as well.
Yeah, she's really funny.
Yeah,
too.
I don't know her as well as you do, but she is fantastic. So we're going to cut to Emma now, and we're going to find out exactly what Emma has to say about this.
The only way you can get rid of a depression or a trauma is not by talking about it, but it is looking at the solution instead of the problem. Children also at home, they are a product of their environment. So we're not born depressed. There's no depression gene. We learn it. So if your child is depressed, who are they learning it from? Is it mom, dad, grandma, auntie Joe? Who are they learning it from? And you need to start asking them, If you weren't depressed, darling, what would you be feeling instead? Because the unconscious mind will always keep you safe. And sometimes depression can be a disguise for shutting up, being quiet. So the unconscious mind will create a depression or a trauma in that child just so they can cope with their day and not actually die, if that makes sense. Another thing that happens with kids who have had prolonged depression or talk about being prolonged in their trauma, it's called secondary gain. And what a lot of parents will do is they will be driving around with their child, taking them here, taking them there, hugging them, holding them because of their depression. But when they're happy, they go, oh, good, Jim's okay. I don't have to worry about him today. So you're actually anchoring your child in. They only get held or hugged or have one-on-one attention when they're in a downer. So a really good top tip for any parent out there is always make a fuss of your child when they're doing exactly what is amazing. So if you've got a teenager and they start doing their homework, just go up and go, oh my God, I just love you, darling. You're such a good kid. You're such a good boy, or you're such a good girl. You know, when they're doing things, if they're just sitting there quietly reading, go up and give them a hug. Give them a hug. Give them something like that. So that is how you do it. That's how you do it. So by constantly talking about the problem, that's just going to create more of a problem. You have to ask that person, that child, and you know what? They can be as young as 3 and they will know the answer. You don't always know the answer for your child, but your child will definitely know the answer for themselves. What do you need? Simple question. You've got to stop telling our kids what to do and start asking them really great questions. What do you need?
And so what about childhood trauma? You know, say so a member of the family dies. Is that different?
Yes, so childhood trauma, if you've got a child anywhere from probably about age 9, 10 down, and somebody in the family dies and there's massive trauma in that child, it's actually false trauma. They've looked at a reaction from somebody in the family and they're copying it. Because children have a very natural way of dealing with death. It's very normal to them. They don't hold this emotion around it. They're taught to do that by adults later on. So if your child has seen something traumatic or been through something traumatic, you can actually flip it. And for instance, I had a beautiful client came into me. I'll tell you a story. I have a family, the little girl was 4, the brother was 6, the other brother was 9, and they had walked into the shed and their dad had hung themselves a week before. So I was seeing these clients, and you know, the kids found dad. He'd been there for a week. It was very traumatic. And they came to see me, and all I said was this: it's such a good thing that daddy can be with you all the time now, because you know, when he's here in person, he can only be there, or he's at work most of the time. He's actually got the best seat in the universe now. He can be with you all the time. What a beautiful gift that is. So you just flip the story. Just flip it. And they don't have a trauma around it. It's sad, and they're allowed to be sad about it. They're allowed to miss daddy. What a great thing to miss daddy. Daddy must have been an amazing man for you to miss him. See how you flip it? So it's not traumatic. It's sad, sure, but it's a beautiful thing. Let's have a laugh about dad. So the kids will only mimic what they see because they haven't learnt that behavior before. So if mum's freaking out, or dad or Auntie Bessie's freaking out, they will too. It's all learnt behavior, because death is a very natural cycle in the world. Very natural. Hope that helps.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emma. That was incredible advice and such profound wisdom, wasn't it, Shani?
Isn't she? I'm so lucky. She's like my bestie and my business partner and my go-to for everything. I get her like every day giving me all those pearls and words of wisdom. So
oh, you're so lucky. You
so
know,
lucky.
She genuinely is just the most beautiful person. Yeah, she's the dog's nads, as we call it in France. So we got another question, haven't we?
We got another question. So Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hiya, Mary.
Thank you for sending this question in. She's written, my relationship feels like it is falling apart. I'm guided to walk away, but it's hard. I don't know what he wants or how he feels. Distant, he feels distant, and I have the feeling of being betrayed. So there's lies, and then the next day everything is fine. So you're left feeling confused and alone, lacking self-worth, and wondering if it is still worth it.
Wow. Wow, this is quite an intense one really to look at, and I want to go straight to the colour mirrors bottles for this one because I've asked her to just go through the pick 3 bottles, and I want to go through exactly what's going on within that relationship and maybe what's causing it to be like that. And such an interesting selection of bottles. So the first one that she chose was bottle number 33. Now this is actually, it's funny, this is like your ruling number bottle. And this one is called Love and Magic, and it's a master number, and it's rose pink over pink. So this is all about mastering love. So it was a very sort of intuitive bottle for you there. Now, Mary, often when this comes up, it really is about looking at issues of self-love, unconditional love towards the self, and mastering that. And once you've mastered that, that's when you kind of attract in the type of love that you truly deserve. And we had a session recently together, didn't we, Shani? And this came up for you. Do you want to talk a little bit about what this means to you?
So this is my ruling number. So this is me in a bottle. So this is love and magic. And I can really resonate with this one a lot because, my area of life that I have a lot of experience with is really trying to navigate your way through bad relationships, basically. Ones where you're not getting what you need, where you actually need to go ask for advice because you're confused. And I was actually just here only, about a month or so ago for a reading because I was in this confused state of thinking, I don't know if this is right for me. And funnily enough, all the bottles that you chose, I chose too. So I can definitely resonate with this one. And 33, it's a master number. This is all about love and magic. So really finding that self-love and magic within you. Because it's not about the other person, it's about you.
It absolutely is. That's such an important message here because this is divine love sitting within the subconscious mind, and when we know we're divinely loved, we actually don't need to have that from the external other. As long as we love ourselves and we feel divinely loved and supported, our lives are abundant and prosperous, and then we don't crave that necessarily from outside, but it actually has that kind of knock-on effect, and it means that you do start attracting healthy relationships, and your soulmate fundamentally. So but this is about mastering it. So it's it's something that takes a while to achieve. Now the second bottle is this one. This one's called Transformation Pluto. Now Mary, you picked out this one's violet in the conscious part of the bottle, and lilac sitting in the subconscious mind. Now this is really about death and regeneration. It's rebirth. It's Scorpio energy, and it's about Pluto is a planetoid which sits the furthest away from planet Earth, and it means that you have to go deep into within yourself or outer space to be able to have that transformation. And it's tears. So violet in colour therapy is about grief. It's about grieving. It's about letting go, and it really so picking this one out, it's almost like it's a letting go, and it's a rebirth, a phoenix rising from the ashes into a new way of being.
Yeah
Definitely.
And that's the thing with these kind of relationships that really doesn't sound like it's serving you, and it's causing a lot of grief. It's an amazing opportunity for true transformation. So I've had some of these relationships where you do feel betrayed, and there's lies, and there's that lack of trust, and you feel like you're not really getting what it is that you want and deserve. And that is an amazing opportunity for you to really sit with yourself and be like, what do I want? And yes, I do deserve more. And what am I willing to put up with? Because until we learn where our boundaries are, we don't have any. And it sounds like if, you're being betrayed and being lied to, and then the next day everything's fine, Where's your boundary, love? Where is that boundary? Because things are not fine. It might be on his side of things because he's like, okay, well, I can just sweep that one under the carpet, but it's not fine. So I really see this as an amazing opportunity for you to do some really deep healing and really turn to self-love and self-worth, because we get the love that we settle for. And if you are in this relationship feeling confused and feeling not supported and not loved and not even being able to trust him, then honey, what the hell are you doing there?
Absolutely.
We get to choose what relationships we want to be in.
We certainly do. And when we start empowering ourselves to, to sort of, have that love that you truly desire, then it sets the balls in motion. Now, the interesting thing is the third bottle that Mary picked was duality. Now, this is bottle 11, so it's another master number that Mary has picked out. And this one, although it looks like black over clear, it's actually very, very deep magenta over clear. Now, this is your last look at issues of separation. It's the one and the one. It's always, think of the twin towers. It's like the two separate elements together, the male and the female, the yin and the yang, it's all of that, but they're separate. All right, so there's judgment there as well. So often when we feel separate, it's because we're sitting in judgment. So what is it that you're judging? Are you judging something about yourself? Or are you judging something about the relationship? But this can often bring up quite a challenge, so it's the path of the master really. And in deep magenta there's guilt, there's some guilt going on there. So where's the guilt coming from? What would you say the guilt is coming from on here?
Well, it's the guilt of not putting yourself first, like it's massive betrayal to yourself.
Right.
When you have been betrayed and then you sit in that energy, because you're coming from just one aspect of yourself when you're feeling into what to do in this relationship. What about your inner child? How much are you betraying her by not taking care of her and making sure that she's getting taken care of by the people in your life? And it's really a case of having to look at, what are your deal breakers, honey? What are you willing to put up with and not put up with? Because as soon as there's lies and betrayal in there, like, it's different when we make mistakes, because relationships are all about making mistakes and having that space to be loved and forgiven and working through stuff. But if he's not being honest with you about things, then you don't have that foundation to be able to do that. So there's a lot in there. It's up to you to really sit with it and be like...
There's a lot, and this is about making decisions and difficulties making decisions as well. So it's like you're backwards and forwards. You're not really sure what to do for the best. Sometimes, by making a decision, it is, you kind of set the wheels in motion, and otherwise you're going to spend your whole life standing on one leg. So just be, the colour combinations that you've picked there indicate that there is going to be change, but it might not necessarily be all rainbows and lollipops. But, when we go through the dark night of the soul, we come out so much stronger into the light, and then we can really, truly, sort of have that relationship that's soul nurturing. And talking about soul nurturing, what about soul nourish?
Before we go into that, can I just say one more thing
Yeah.
when it comes to relationships? Because obviously you need to come to this conclusion on your own.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell you, because you'll just keep on doing it and doing it and doing it until you've come to the conclusion. So what I suggest is asking yourself the right questions. Is this relationship serving me? Do I feel loved and supported? Can we work through our issues as a team? Is he showing me he's as committed as I am? Do we have the same future goals? What are my deal breakers, and have they already been broken? And actually really ask yourself the questions, because if you keep on getting no, then there's your answer.
It's interesting because Mark and I went to see Anthony Grizel, what's his name? John Edward. Can't believe he's like my guru. But if you don't know John Edward is a famous American clairvoyant, and he's talking about relationships during a recent talk in Perth, and it was at the Heath Ledger Centre, and he was talking about it has to, like, the relationship has to be matched 50-50. You know, if it's out of balance in any way, shape or form, then it needs addressing, because one person can't be giving more than the other. And so those questions are fantastic, Shani. You know, ask yourself those questions. Yeah, it's not for us to give you the solutions. Your subconscious mind is revealing what's going on for you, and it's indicating that these decisions do need to take place. But you know, you have to reach that, you know, in your own time and in your own way. So yeah, and the other thing that you could do is pick out the bottle out of the 3 bottles that you most resonate with, most connect with. Pour it into your bath, submerge your body in it, because that will support you during the transformation that's about to arise.
Okay. A relationship's meant to be that space where you can be loved and supported and have those needs met, and be meeting the needs of your partner as well. So if you're not getting your needs met, then you really need to ask yourself, you know, well, what are my needs, and is he willing to do that work? And if he's not, then you can meet those needs on your own, or with somebody that is really ready to give you what you deserve. Because, yeah, we just want you feeling good.
We do, Mary. We just want you feeling good.
Yeah, right? And treated good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Soul Nourish. So
my God.
No, because when you were talking about all your retreats with Emma that you're doing in Bali and that, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited because, like, we're going to be doing one together as well. We're doing one.
So exciting. So we sat down a few weeks ago over coffee and actually went through the different processes we're going to be doing and put together a bit of a run sheet, and oh, it's incredible. So this one is just for anyone who literally needs a bit of soul nourishment. We're going to spend 2.5 days together in a beautiful, beautiful holiday home down in Rockingham, right on the beach, and it is just full of magic. Hayden, what magic are you bringing to the table?
Oh, so much colourful magic.
Yeah.
Just loads and loads of interaction with colour mirrors. We're going to be doing some art therapy, some colour therapy. We're going to be going into shadow patterns. We're going to be looking at past life stuff. And you're going to be bringing us to the temple because the Andromedans.
Yeah, so I do this amazing work that was originally channeled through by the beautiful Divana Eliandra, and she's got these amazing temples that were gifted to humanity through her by the galactic beings, the Andromedans. So it's sacred geometry that just opens up full communication between your higher self and your star families and your spiritual families, and it just goes through and clears and dissolves so much on so many levels, and that really supports the work that we do. So it helps to just add another layer. I will be doing beautiful activations and attunements and energetic upgrades, because I already do that anyway with my workshops and retreats, but I would have just gotten back from Peru, where I'm spending 3 weeks with the shamans over there.
Oh, you're going to be glowing.
Yeah. Excited. So excited. So I'll be doing lots of beautiful meditations, also and the activations, and also some really cool processes that I have created that get you right into energetically clear all big, heavy, old, deep-seated traumas from this lifetime, past lifetimes, your ancestral line. And I'm going to train you and teach you how to tune into your higher self, because nobody knows you like you know you, but you're actually trained out of knowing you, or knowing what's right for you from a very young age. You know, right from little kids, we're told to go ask an adult. You know, we're told to ask someone for advice. We're taught to get our information about us from everywhere, but in here and up here, which is why the colour mirrors are so beautiful, because it helps you to tune in yourself. But I'm going to teach you how to tune into your unconscious mind, your superconscious mind, your higher self, and actually start getting all the answers coming through. So I've got some really amazing processes to show you how to do
that. It's just going to be incredible. So if you want a proper transformation over a couple of days, because it's in May next year, so 2020, we're actually on this one, we've only got two places left. It's kind of sold out just as soon as we published it, and it was like, how did that happen? We were like, oh, how excited! But I think
we knew that was gonna happen.
Well,
though.
we did. But do you know what? It's funny because I only just recently found out, because I've known of you for about 18 months or so now, but it was only through a recent conversation that we had that I recognised that you're working with the Andromedan energy as well, and I had my own profound experience and realisation that my soul is Andromedan. It was about a year ago, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I remember saying to Mark, I was told that I'm from Andromeda, in the middle of the night, because when I was asking who am I and where am I from, and I honestly thought it was like off Star Trek, because I'd never heard of it before, or Star Wars or something, and I googled it, and then it was like when I started reading about the personality traits of the Andromedans, it's me down to a T. So I feel like our souls are aligning at the moment to bring through the Andromedan wisdom, and of course Andromedan wisdom and teachings is really all about self-love. It's the hugest part. So it's a big bubble of love.
Yeah, and the Andromedans are here to help with the healing of humanity and the evolution of Earth. They work very much with your higher self to grant the wishes of humanity. So not the wishes of what we consciously, from our personality point of view, going, oh, I want that big TV. It's the wishes of our higher self. Like, what is our higher self really here to do? So they help us to really step into the joy of our higher purpose. And it's actually been since I've been working with the temples that all this creation energy, like my first massive process that I created that has gone international, I created the day after connecting in with these temple energies and the Andromedans.
I knew that there would have been a synchronicity there, because it just feels like that wisdom has come directly through from that multi-dimension. It's fantastic. It's just so, it fills my heart full of joy that this wisdom is available on the planet right now. And if you wanna like even discover your own soul origin, or what star system you're from, then we're going to be doing all sorts of channelings like that as well to help you really work out whether you're Pleiadian soul origin, Lyran, Syrian.
And I'll tell you something very
Arcturian.
interesting. We've actually got multiple strands of DNA from different star systems. We're not just one.
Not just one.
You can actually and we'll have to get Devana on this show one day, because she actually shows you how you can actually activate different DNA inlays. So I've got a few of her waters at home at the moment, and my next ones that I'm working through is activating my Pleiadian and activating my Syrian.
That's absolutely right. And
So
it's
we've actually got
interesting
lots.
because over the last year I've been putting together a channel on YouTube. So if you type in Dreemtime Academy onto YouTube, you'll see over 80 videos that I've created all
Love
about
those videos.
all the different flavours of starseeds. And what I've noticed in the comments section is that people are resonating with more than just one. So although I started off with this whole Andromedan resonance, I also started recognising Pleiadian traits. I started recognising Arcturian, even reptilian traits as well. So, because we're all a mixture of dark and light energy. So it's a fascinating channel to go on if you want to learn a little bit more just about the basics of it. And then if you really want to sort of take that to the next level, then Soul Nourish is going to give, it's going to be a mind-blowing, I can't wait. I'm just so excited.
The feeling of the energy, and we've got so many amazing people. And Emma's coming over for it. She's flying over from Melbourne as one of the participants because she just wants to get all soul nourished.
Yeah, so you won't need to dial Emma then, will
No.
Well, fantastic. Well, I think that, we hopefully all of the people that have asked us, whether it's Mary or Brenda or Heather, please, I hope you've got something from this. And if you're watching this and you've got a question, then please leave it in the comments section below. Let us know what things you're struggling with, and we'll cover it off, because normally when one person's dealing with it, a whole host of people are dealing with it, and we try and cover for the collective as well, don't we?
Yeah, it's what's going on for the collective. It's what's trending, with different issues. And I notice it in my clinic all the time, is I'll just have a few weeks there where just about every second client it's the same issue, because we do, as a collective, we're working through different issues.
We certainly are. Well, Shani, give us a hug. I really...
Oh, that was so amazing!
Enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Yay. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.